It's time for CityBeat, your source for all the latest news on the city of Thompson, only on 610 CHTM.
Hello and welcome to CityBeat. I'm your host, Jared Schneider, and joining me today is Deputy Mayor Dennis Fenske. And it's the first time we've had you on since you became Deputy Mayor for the year, so congratulations and good morning.
Thank you, Jared.
Now, before we get into the questions, I'll give you the first minute to run things down from the past week.
Basically, we've had a fairly busy week. With the weather change, we've had a significant number of water breaks, 8 or more to be exact. The crews are currently working on them. So for an advisory perspective, we would advise people to be aware of large equipment on the streets. Pay attention, the roads can be slippery because some of the water is on the road surface, so be aware of that. And then secondly, in regards to the weather itself, obviously the weather has dropped significantly in the last week, and with that, so be safe and make sure you have appropriate clothing on. And the last one is in regards to the snowfall that we've received. We got a major snowfall in the last couple of days, and the equipment, again, men and equipment have been out for the last number of days. We're on the residential streets now. The major routes, priority 1s, have been done. Priority 2s are almost completed, and then we're into the priority 3s, which are the residential and side streets. So again, just be aware of the large equipment that's on the streets and drive to the road conditions.
204-677-8181. Now, since you're Deputy Mayor and it is your second time in this term of council, what are some of your plans or the city's plans for the upcoming year?
I think it's more that it's the city's plans and the upcoming year, 2014. Currently, we're into the budget deliberations with council, and hopefully we'll have those done by mid-January or so, and have a budget prepared for 2014. The second large item that we are working on right now, and regards to the wastewater treatment plant that's planned. We've been directed by the province of Manitoba to upgrade our wastewater treatment plant by 2015. So the background, there has been some engineering work done, some studies done, and we are actually hosting a open house next Wednesday evening at between 6 and 9 at the Thompson Regional Recreation Center in the Mayor Fenske boardroom, and where there will be a display of the proposed plans, conceptual drawings, and things like that. It's an open house, so please come down, ask your questions. It's a $45 million investment at this time. It's a large investment, and it will be the wastewater treatment plant for the foreseeable future of Thompson. So it's very important that ratepayers understand what's going on, what they're contributing through their utility bills, and it's a good information session, so we'd encourage everyone to come down on next Wednesday night.
204-677-8181. Now, you mentioned a few things like the wastewater treatment plant, some of the snow plowing, water breaks and things like that, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But now, what are some of the differences that we could see from this year over maybe the previous 3 of this term of council?
Well, in regards to the actual term of council, this is going into the 4th year, the final year of the mandate of this council, and so the changes you'll see, basically it's a status quo for the most part. We're looking to complete the projects and the plans that we outlined in year 1 of the strategic plan of this council. I think we've hit most of the points. As you'll recall, this council was hit shortly after the election with the announcement from Valley in regards to the closing of the refinery and smelter, and so we had to react to that. There was the TEDWIC program that was initiated to look at the sustainability of our community and what other options were. That process has basically been completed. There's some final touch-ups, but basically that process has been completed and been quite successful in identifying potentials and opportunities for the community to move forward in both a mining community that will remain as for many years, but also a wider resource community in the sense of a northern hub for resources, whether it be education, health, and services like that as well.
204-677-8181. Taking your calls to Deputy Mayor Dennis Fenske, 204-677-8181. Now, I know you're on a whole whack of committees, including you are the chair of the Public Safety Committee. So what are some of the tasks maybe of the Public Safety Committee?
Currently, right now, the Public Safety Committee is reviewing, or will be reviewing, the final report from the bylaw enforcement program, the safety program this summer. That's being prepared by Annette Siddle, and it'll go to council in the next little while, and that will include recommendations recommendations for the 2014 year. It'll be reviewing what was done in the past, and as we made mention in the initial announcement in May when we announced the program, it's part of an ongoing process in dealing with the downtown issues that we have. There are a number of initiatives that have been put forth and moved forward in the last couple of years. Most recently, the detox beds available at AFM. There have been 6 non-medical detox beds made available. Part of the initiative is also dealing with housing, and most recently we've had the public hearing in regards to the damp house located on Cree Road. That's another step in regards to providing housing as a stopgap to the issue of addictions and mental illness, and hopefully it will start to break the cycle in what we're seeing in our community.
204-677-8181. Now, I know you mentioned a few things, but for us, what are some of the things that we would notice on a daily basis that has to either go through the Public Safety Committee or maybe came from the Public Safety Committee?
Well, basically, one of the things that you saw over the last year was the bylaw enforcement program, for sure, and that was reviewed and implemented and recommended by the Public Safety Committee to Council. Other things where you're looking at public safety in general in regards to, and I should raise the issue currently with the recent snowfall, is we looked at it as a committee to safety for the children in going to and from school, and specifically the area around Burntwood School on Arctic Drive and the intersection of Wekusko, Goldeye, and Westwood Drive. And currently it's under review in regards to how do we handle the additional housing and the additional population of children in that area to make it safe for them. Because currently the crosswalk scenario is at the corner of Arctic and Wekusko. There are no crosswalks from Goldeye or Johnson onto Arctic. So we really have to look at how we control traffic flow and how we educate the kids and the drivers so that they don't interact as these kids are moving on to the school. So that's one of the other areas that we've been looking at. The other, staying on that tone in regards to speed limits in the school zones, the province of Manitoba passed recently the legislation to provide for reduced speed in school zones. The City of Thompson started last spring in reviewing all of that. We have a program in place, and now it will be implemented in regards to, probably in the new year, in regards to reduced speed zones around the 6 elementary schools and the high school and UCN. And so that's something you'll notice, drivers will notice, the general public will notice in regards to a lower speed limit in those areas.
204-677-8181. Now, maybe if we get back into some of the other things, some of the main things that we definitely do see on a daily basis, especially at this point of year. How are some of the things with the water breaks, and is it maybe a lot for this time of year?
Currently, we've experienced a lot in a short period of time. As I said, we've got 8. We've had a significant weather change. We've had some infrastructure issues, and so on average, we experience 150 to 160 water breaks per season, or per year, I should say. And so the total number is not surprising. What is surprising is the number in a short period of time. So normally we're dealing with 1 or 2 on a daily basis. To have 8 within a week is in specific areas is a bit of a abnormal situation. So again, we're advising that we have crews on site and that it will interrupt traffic flows. So be aware of the large equipment on the streets.
204-677-8181. Now, what is the priority for water breaks, and how is it kind of dealt with?
Well, basically, it's similar to the priority in roads. Those that service the emergency and priority areas in the community, whether it be schools, hospitals, and so forth, if those breaks were to occur in those areas, obviously those ones we've dealt with as opposed to a smaller residential break, which doesn't demean the smaller break, but when you have to prioritize your work, it goes to the emergency and the ones that are necessary on an immediate basis, as opposed to ones that can be put off for 48 hours or more.
204-677-8181. Now, we've seen the snow plows out, especially with the huge dump of snow we got, where we woke up to rather yesterday morning, and you mentioned them into priorities areas 2 and 3 now, but how does maybe this and a lot of snow right off the bat prepare us for the rest of the year, or the rest of the winter?
It's been reported and recently that the snowfall for November is way above seasonal average, and hopefully, I mean, you can't control the weather, but hopefully we'll see December, January, February more to the seasonal levels of snowfall. Because if anyone was in the community in last November, we didn't see this significant snow at all. It was very little at this time of year, and so the last two dumps have been quite significant, and hopefully Mother Nature will be a little easier on us the next month.
204-677-8181. Now, you mentioned off the top the open house that's on Wednesday, so maybe just run down that and what it's for and who can come out to it.
Again, it's an open house, so it's open to all members of the public. It's located at the Thompson Regional Recreation Center, and it's in the Mayor Fenske boardroom from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And the topic is the wastewater treatment plant. And basically, the province of Manitoba has legislated us to upgrade, as they've legislated others, in regards to upgrading wastewater treatment plants in other communities and ours as well, to current standards. And so what that involved was a number of engineering studies to see what our options are. We have now a proposal before us from an engineering group, and this is the open house to basically convey that information to the general public. It is a big ticket item at this point, around $45 million, of which our portion, the city's portion, would be around $15 million. And so it's a significant contribution or investment into our infrastructure. So people should be concerned about it and should be aware of it. Ultimately, we as taxpayers are paying for our portion through the utility agreement that we're paying as a capital project portion of that. And so if anybody has questions or concerns, we'll have the people of expertise in wastewater treatment on site and on hand to answer any questions or inquiries that they may have.
And that will do it for CityBeat this week. But before we go, I'll give you the final minute to preview the week ahead.
The week ahead, basically this weekend, we have the Santa Claus Parade on Saturday, followed by the lighting of the Christmas tree at City Hall. And so I'd invite everyone out. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. It's National Children's Day as well, so there's a lot of activity on Saturday. So bundle up, come on out, and enjoy yourself, and have a good weekend.
And that will do it for CityBeat this week. I would just like to thank Deputy Mayor Fenske for joining me today. And make sure to tune in every Thursday at 11:30 for another edition of CityBeat. And enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
CityBeat will be back next Thursday morning.